Fans have seen a host of great smack talkers come and go in the octagon through the years, the likes of Chael Sonnen, the Diaz brothers, and Michael Bisping. But none of them did it quite as well as the notorious Conor McGregor. But just like in his in-cage career, McGregor doesn't always win these exchanges. With that in mind, here are 5 times Conor McGregor was absolutely owned while trash talking. Nate Diaz. The first meeting between Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz at UFC 196 generated the 5th highest pay-per-view buy rate in UFC history. Although Diaz came in as a late replacement, it's apparent that he wasn't at all fazed by the Irishman's cloak of invincibility. Diaz carried himself with his usual lackadaisical swagger and looked like a man who knows he has the ability to win. During the pre-fight press conference, McGregor employed his antics, calling Diaz Nick's little brother, referring to him as a phony cholo gangster at one point, but Nate was having none of it. Diaz fired back by calling the Irishman a champion of the little man weight division, and added that unlike him, McGregor hasn't really fought grown-ups. Come fight night, Diaz's assessment was on point, as his size advantage proved to be too much for McGregor. The rest is history. Daniel Cormier. If you follow Conor McGregor on social media, you know that a large part of his online activities involve going after fellow fighters. And while he usually targets those who are in the same weight class as him, that certainly wasn't the case when he got entangled in an ugly back and forth with Daniel Cormier. The bickering between the pair of former 2-division champions began after DC called out McGregor for making rather tasteless jokes regarding Khabib Nurmagomedov's late father. The commentator called McGregor's actions a cry for help if I've ever seen one. Not one to let anything slide, McGregor retaliated by making fun of Cormier's weight. Very mature indeed. And accusing him of showing up drunk during UFC events. Knowing full well that a war of words with McGregor would amount to really nothing, Cormier decided to stand down, but not before taking one last shot at the Irishman. He tweeted this in a now deleted tweet: "We can't fight, it's just all talk, so stop. Thank you for watching. Get help. Win a fight." Khabib Nurmagomedov. Conor McGregor versus Nurmagomedov is one of the most intense rivalries in the long history of the UFC. The feud started when Khabib slapped McGregor's teammate Artem Lobov in the face and escalated when the Irishman hurled a steel dolly through a window of a bus that was carrying the Eagle. So when the UFC announced that a championship bout between the 2 biggest lightweight stars was on, everyone knew that we were on the verge of witnessing an all-out war. As expected, the build-up featured a one-sided trash-talking affair, as Nurmagomedov wasn't really known for being much of a talker. But when they finally met in the cage, the Eagle unleashed his all pent-up aggression on the challenger. As he was smashing a helpless McGregor with a barrage of strikes, Khabib kept telling him, let's talk," as a way of taunting the challenger, who has been silenced by several ground strikes. Once the round had ended and the two were separated, McGregor tried to remind Khabib not to get too worked up, as everything that was done was only business. But it became evidently clear that McGregor won't be able to talk himself out of what's to come. Eddie Alvarez. UFC President Dana White once admitted that Conor McGregor's lack of time management skills is what he dislikes most about the fighter. Perhaps the most notorious instance of McGregor's habitual tardiness was when he forced his fellow fighters, including his opponent Eddie Alvarez, to wait for him during the UFC 205 pre-fight press event. To say that Alvarez was livid is a massive understatement. The champion began unloading an obscene amount of trash talk on his absent challenger, saying he's disappointed with the entire country of Ireland for having McGregor as their representative. How did Alvarez do once McGregor finally arrived? He surprisingly did well. It isn't very often that McGregor gets talked over by his opponents, but Alvarez repeatedly told the Irishman to stop bragging about his wealth, as he once relied on welfare to survive. The underground king definitely did not mince words when he told McGregor that he took money from single moms, a retort that McGregor had no counter to. Of course, McGregor had the last laugh when he TKO'd Alvarez to become the first ever champ. But shutting down McGregor in a trash-talking exchange is an achievement that Alvarez can hang his hat on. Dustin Poirier. Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier each held TKO wins against each other heading up to UFC 264. As there can't be ties in MMA, the two were booked to settle the score in a much ballyhooed trilogy bout in July 2021. While the competitors appear to be on friendly terms after the rematch, whatever goodwill they built up went down the drain when Poirier accused McGregor of not following through with a donation for his charity. And just like that, McGregor and Poirier were once again at odds. After proving that he can trade literal jabs with McGregor and emerge victorious, Poirier demonstrated that he can also trade verbal jabs with the Irishman and get the better of him. During the trilogy bout's pre-fight press conference, McGregor was asked why he was being hostile to Poirier after being nice to him in the build-up to a previous fight. Before McGregor even had a chance to answer, the Diamond chimed in and said, because he got knocked the fuck out. And when the Irish megastar picked up the mic to get a word in, Poirier interrupted, adding, not McGregor fast, McGregor sleep. The rivalry concluded with an anticlimactic ending after McGregor snapped his tibia at the end of the first round. Nonetheless, the history books will show Poirier defeated McGregor back-to-back times. And to those who think otherwise,
you can kiss my whole asshole.
If you enjoy videos like this from Sports Key to MMA, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to our channel.